You all, when you were all very young, I'm talking to the young people in the room, and right now you're getting ready, you're right in the middle of your high school years, and in a short period of time, you're going to apply to college or to a university. So again, Dr. Harper really recommends get to know your teacher. I'd like to ask you, Ben, how do you get to know a teacher? Is it like getting to know a friend?
Oh, it's a different friend.
Oh, how's it different?
At one point, it's kind of saying where you say hi to your teacher, and it's like, oh, hey, Mr. Lee Brown, this is my old teacher, who I actually like.
What did you like about him?
I mean, he was generally nice to me. When I struggled with work, he somehow knew I was struggling with my homework, and he would come up to me and like ask me if I'm having trouble. And I don't know, he just like cared a lot about me. So I like about him. For me, I feel like at one point it's like same as where you meet your new friends in high school. But it's like different. You don't use any slang words or it has to be more like formal.
So you can't say what's up?
Yeah.
Right. I would be cutting over it for sure.
But they're still like humans, so.
Oh, so you're telling Dr. Harper, thank God you acknowledge the fact that I'm a human being. I am human.
So, yeah, how are you then?
For sure.
Talk about like how class is going. It's like something common. So I really do.
Everyone, Ben is right on the money. Everything he said is extremely important. Ben, would it be permissible for Dr. Harper to add a few more things?
Sure.
To get to know a teacher, ask him or her, where do they go to school? If you feel comfortable, ask them, why do they want to be an English teacher? Why are they teaching British literature at your local high school? Ask them where they graduated from college or university. And ask them what's really interesting to them about their particular subject. Add it to them taking a personal interest. So 3 years later, they can write more than a wonderful letter of recommendation for you. It can be a passionate letter of recommendation. If you feel comfortable, I'm talking to you, Ben, but I'm talking to everybody. Ask them what they value. And that will give you a sense in terms of what? This is another adult other than your mother and father. And if you admire them, these might be some of the values that you may want to embrace. And that's what my mentors did for me. But it started like Ben said, exactly how Ben said. I liked them, and they were concerned about me. And Ben, you're very lucky to have a person like that in your life, other than your mother and father, which connects into everyone in terms of your mothers and fathers. I like to let all the mothers and fathers know in the room this afternoon, I consider it an honor to talk to your son or daughter. Whenever I work with young people, I tell the parents, thank you very much for giving me the honor to work with your son or daughter. And I'm going to do my best to continue the good work that you've done for the first 15, 16, 12 years of their life. My goal is to complement what you've done. I tell the students, it's an honor for me to work with you. Why? I, in terms of values, get a definite benefit to work with someone that wants to do something really wonderful with their life. Thank you very much for allowing me to spend some time with you for this short particular period of time. That's how Dr. Harper operates. And again, I had adults in my life that were that way, and that's why I'm here where I'm at right now. And that's what ultimately helped me get a PhD at Brown University. At Brown University, everyone, I got a wonderful education. They were wonderful professors, but it started with my mother and father. They started the process. They were the foundation. So ultimately, when I got to Brown, it all came together. So for the students in the room, I'd like to share this with you. As you apply for college and university, you see I'm kind of talking around what I had in terms of a planner. You can't do it alone. You need mother and father too. The communication line has to be two-way. You need mom and dad. And mom and dad, you need your son and daughter too as well, as far as what? Knowing that they're beginning to embark upon their own particular life, and they'll need your support too as well. And that's where the love comes in and support comes in, and it'll make this arduous process of applying to a college or a university less of a ordeal. Because everyone is very difficult, as Mr. Yang told you. So that's what I mean in terms of getting to know a teacher. So also, how can you get to know a teacher? Be a member of a club. If a teacher is an advisor to the club, that's how you can get to know a teacher. Sports events, that's how you can get to know a teacher, because they're involved in sports events. Or any other activity. So basically, when I'm telling you 9th and 10th and 11th graders, you have to, if you allow me to use some of your language that you may not use at home, hang out a little bit with some adults. It might be nice. And you'd be surprised how much you've learned. In fact, it got to the point with me, when I was in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, I felt a little bit more comfortable being with adults than my own peers, because I learned more. 9th graders, what do you have to think about in terms of studying hard? What courses are you taking? And for the 9th graders, do you know your guidance officer by his or her name? What was the meeting like when they helped you assemble your course schedule for the year? Are they going to be your university, college advisor when you're a senior? Or will they give you to somebody else? If they don't know who's going to be your college or your university advisor, are you going to stay with that person just for 1 year or 2 years, whatever? You need to know that. Also, does your parents know who your counselor is? They need to know. Scheduling. Did you hear what Mr. Yang said? It's an arduous process applying to a college or a university. There's only 4 years. There's certain things you have to do right away, even though you don't know what you don't want. You really don't know where you want to apply. That's okay, everyone. It's wonderful in 9th grade that you don't know where you're going to apply. That's life. But there's certain things you have to do. For an example, at Brown University, they want to see 4 years of English. Minimum 3 years of a language, preferably 4 years. If you're applying to a tech school, you have to take physics, chemistry, biology. They have a sequence. And in one of the handouts, I very nicely made photocopies of 4 schools. What Brown wants to look for in a transcript, what MIT is looking for a transcript, what Stanford University is looking for a transcript, and lastly, what Williams College is looking for a transcript. So when you meet with your advisor, right now for you 9th graders, you look at your schedule now, look at the courses that they recommend, and that's how you set your schedule for the next 3.5 years, or make changes. And you discuss that matter with your parents, so your parents know. And you can even discuss it with this lovely man to my right, Mr. Yang. He can give you support in terms of that. And in that way, you're in a good situation. Remember 9th graders and 10th and 11th graders. The more wonderful adults you have in your life, the easier this process is going to be as far as you getting into a school that you really want to attend, your dream school. What else do you have to think about in terms of applying for school? I'm going to merge the 9th grade and 10th and 11th grade, okay? So I put down, make sure that you select a proper combination of secondary school classes, which means everyone this. They're going to look for challenging classes. What class or classes will challenge you? That's what they're looking for. So you got to think about that when you set up your schedule. How do you find that out? Well, you can do it in a number of ways. You can talk to your guidance officer. If you don't feel comfortable talking to your guidance officer, if you have a friend in the neighborhood that's going to Harper College, that graduated from your high school, ask him or her, what courses did they take over the course of 4 years at their high school? How else can you find it out? Well, you can talk to an admission officer. How can you do that? In every area across the country, schools have clubs. Brown has Brown clubs all over the country. They have a Brown club in Beijing, China, Seoul, Korea. They have a Brown club in Rhode Island. And they have events over the course of the year. And every now and then, they'll invite high school students to come to one of their activities. And there you can get information that's wonderful. And the best thing about it, everyone, is free. And it's excellent information. If in your family, you have a family member that's a professor, ask him or her, what would they recommend? You'd be surprised how much support you have in terms of information. You just have to look around to see who is in your life and what they've done, and they can assist you in an effort as far as you preparing for school. Ninth graders, this might sound kind of weird. Part of ninth grade, you have to start building up your resume. What do you think a resume is? And I'll stay with you if that's okay. I don't want you to say it. I don't want you to put on your Facebook page that Dr. Harper gave me such a tough time this afternoon, and he did this, that, and that. I'll ask one of my brown students to check and see what you're saying about that. I'm just teasing. But anyway, but what about a resume?
Definitely like out of school activities, clubs.
Like what type of clubs?
What clubs you like?
Like hypothetically, name some clubs for us.
There's like a science club.
Excellent. And if the science advisor is someone who just graduated from MIT, and they were involved in some really interesting projects, that could be a wonderful way for you to what? All the more what? Supplement your science education at your high school. If you're president of the club, that'll say a lot. Other than the science club, thank you, Ben. How about you, young man in the back? Another club that, or activity you can be involved in high school? You don't know? Okay, I'm gonna move over. How about you?
Sports
Young woman in
club.
the back.
Sports club.
Like what?
Volleyball.
You're the great volleyball player. And she's what? The co-captain. That's a wonderful activity. What do you learn by playing a sport? Anybody? Yes?
Teamwork.
What's teamwork?
Sort of thinking about others and joining knowledge with them, working on one thing.
Without a doubt. And many admission officers in schools like to see that. How well do you interact with other people? And sports can be a wonderful way to learn those skills. Other than a sport. So we talked about the science club, and we talked about a sports activity. Another activity that you can be involved in as far as building up your resume. Yes? You? Excellent. What about econ club?
Like, you learn about economy and we go out for competitions.
And in fact, you know what you can do at your high school? You can start an investment club. And what's that? You can kind of put your little money together and learn how to read the stock market, and as a club, invest. And if you do very well, that'll be a nice plus as far as what? Letting a school know that you're adept as far as engaging this particular type of activity. And especially if you're going to be applying to Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania as a first-year student, or to another business school that has an excellent reputation. So Economics Club is a wonderful example. Let Dr. Harper add one other type of activity. The state of Massachusetts is wonderful. You know why, everyone? They have numerous activities on a statewide level where a 9th or a 10th or 11th grader can be involved. It could be anything in terms of what? What high school students think about the MCAS test. I'm just throwing some things out. It could be school bullying or whatever, or any type of advocacy for the homeless. That would be another wonderful activity for you to put in your resume. And as you get ready to graduate, or as you apply to college, they'll see that. The one thing I talk to Mr. Yang about, everyone, is this. It's not about being involved in 10 to 12 activities. We both very strongly agree with each other. Quality as opposed to quantity. It's better to be involved in 3 activities and you're really vested in those 3 activities than being involved in 10 activities and you're on the peripheral of all 10 activities. So remember, everyone, when it comes to extracurricular activities, quality rather than quantity. And in Massachusetts, every now and then they have wonderful opportunities for a young person even to be on television and talk about, as a 10th grader, this is what I feel about this particular issue. Okay? 9th graders, but it also involves 10th and 11th graders. Read, read, read. What do you think Dr. Harper means by that?
Read a lot of books and
Like what type of books? Like what? Could you make a recommendation for Dr. Harper? If I haven't read it, I'll go to the library when I get back to Providence and I'll take a book out.
45 lines.
Who wrote that? Do you know? Why should Dr. Harper read it?
So it's a great book from it's like a
Everyone, I'm gonna look that book up, Forged by Fire. I'm gonna ask one of my librarian friends, if Brown doesn't have it, I'm gonna get it by interlibrary loan, I'm gonna read that book. Would it be permissible for me to add some other publications other than that particular book? Everyone, the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Newsweek, Time, the Atlantic Monthly, Wine, 9th graders, 10th and 11th graders. Those are wonderful ways where you can start learning about local and national and international affairs. For example, what's going on in terms of water as a world politic? Issues in terms of the economy, in terms of the world politic. How do you feel about the European nation or the Eurodollar? All that you can learn by reading those publications. And the wonderful thing about it is that many of them are online. And if you don't have the opportunity to get it online at home, you can go to your local library and get it. And everyone, part of you complementing the college process is by you immersing yourself to those issues. If it's television, listen to Charlie Rose. Get on, or in fact, you can get on C-SPAN. And if the Congress is meeting, spend about a half an hour listening to what the congressmen are talking about, or what the senators are talking about a particular issue. And that's how you develop, slowly but surely, everyone, your perspective in terms of what you believe in as a citizen, as an American citizen, world citizen, whatever. It makes you stronger. And all that wonderful information becomes part of you. And especially when you write your college or university essay, it comes in very handy. Also, everyone, in terms of read. Dr. Harper is a former reading teacher. 42 years ago, I taught reading on a formal level at an elementary school. And the research shows this. It said it then, it says it now. There's a very strong correlation between reading and how you write. The more you read, the better writer you are. The more you write, the better writer you become. Now for you young people, I know a lot of you text whatever, but that's not the type of writing that's going to put your best foot forward as far as a college or university application. It's a little bit different. And so as you take English composition in high school, please take it seriously. Even now on a college or university level, almost all colleges and universities have some requirement in terms of reading and writing proficiency, and it varies. Even at Brown University, you have to demonstrate that you can write well before you graduate. And on your college essay, it's crucial, and especially when you're using a common application, or more so if the college or university requires other writing that you have to turn in. Years ago at Brown University, for your college essay, and you had to handwrite it. They don't do that anymore. It's changed. So you see, every school is going to be a little bit different. Writing is key. As a university professor, I'm a stickler when it comes to writing. How do you make an argument? How do you express in X amount of words your ideas? How organized is it? Is there a beginning, middle, and end? And when I was a Meckler-John academic advisor at Brown, these are some of the things that the university asked me to do as a Meckler-John advisor. And I was a Meckler-John advisor as a graduate student. But the reason why they asked me to do it, because previous to becoming a graduate student at Brown, I did it at other colleges and universities. And so the dean asked me to do that for first-year students. So that's key. So remember, everyone, you can have the best scores in the sciences, but you also have to be able to write. And you don't have to be William Faulkner or Willa Cather or Ernest Hemingway. But if you can at least write a decent report with a beginning, middle, and end. And there's not a whole lot of likes, and ums. And that's a personal thing with Dr. Harper. It's difficult for me to deal with. I come from a different generation where we didn't say and like. Okay? I'm just saying that just to tease you a little bit. What else have you do as a ninth grader, everyone? Summer's important. How do you spend your summers? What do you do? Do you have a job? For many schools, they're going to look at what type of job you had over the summer. Or if you don't have a job, how did you spend your free time? You're in Boston. There's some wonderful activities. Let me ask you, what wonderful activities could you engage in Boston over the summer? permissible for me to make some suggestions for you? Museum of Fine Arts have wonderful programs for young people over the summer. Museum of Science have wonderful programs for young people over the summer. Here on Harvard's campus, they have wonderful programs, and they're all free that you can involve yourself in. In your town, they can have wonderful activities where you're gonna have fun, but the great thing about it, you can learn a lot too as well. So remember everyone, summer is also a key time. And for the parents, I'd like to say this. For your son and daughter, they need time where they can relax and spend quality time thinking about who they are as a person and where they might want to go in terms of their own life. So it's more than just working 24/7. It's really important for a young person to have time where they can reflect, think, and be with their friends too. That can all be integrated in terms of them maintaining a rigorous academic schedule and meeting all the requirements so they can be Harvard admissible 3 years from now. But that's really key. Because when they apply to a school, the school wants to know how well-rounded that young person is. Because remember everyone, when you apply to a school like Brown University or Harvard University or MIT, you're part of a small cohort. Only X thousands of young people are applying to those schools. The majority of students that apply to a college and university attend a school no more than 500 miles away. In California, 99% of the students in California stay in state. They don't go out of state. So when you choose to apply to these schools, and Mr. Yang told me about some of the schools that you're planning to apply to, you're in a very interesting cohort group, a very rare one. And you're also competing with young people from all over the world, from other countries, that want to become part of that particular university or college community too. Okay? 10th and 11th graders, what you need to be thinking about. Well, in 10th or 11th grade, you're older right now. You might want to think about this. What courses you've achieved, and do you plan to take AP classes? I read an article in the Providence Journal, it was from the New York Times, where they're saying in California, it's very difficult for students in one particular city in California to take AP classes. They're all filled up. And what the students are doing, they're petitioning the school district to increase the number of AP courses. What do you need to think about in terms of 10th and 11th grade? Have you started to decide what schools you want to apply to? I talked to Mr. Yang about this, and we pretty much agree that, you might want to start thinking about anywhere from 8 to 12 schools to apply to. And it has to be more than just a name recognition. Why Williams College? What would make you a wonderful addition to the Williams College community? What could you offer them as a human being? Conversely, what could Williams College offer you? How do you learn that? You can do a virtual tour on the internet. How else can you learn it? They have introduction to Williams College nights all over the country. In your town, if Williams College is coming to town, go to that open house. If there's anybody from your local high school that goes to Williams College, see if him or her will be willing to talk to you. And lastly, if there's a Williams club, college club in the area, that's a wonderful way for you to learn about Williams. If you want to major in English and Williams College is strong in English, look at the professors in the English department and what they study. Is that area of English something that's interesting to you? For an example, if you want to become a Shakespeare scholar, and at Williams College they can have one professor who is an internationally renowned Shakespeare scholar, that could be another reason why you want to go to Williams College, or to Brown University, or to Harper College. So remember everyone, it's more than just name recognition. Quality-wise, what can the school offer you in terms of academics, and secondly, social too as well. What makes Brown University unique? If there's not a club in a particular scenario, a particular top arena, as a first-year student, you can start a new club. But remember, Brown is unique. You know why? There's no required courses other than a required course for your concentration. So Brown is looking for someone who's a self-starter, someone who likes to experiment, someone who's willing to assume a particular challenge. Columbia College or Columbia University, a little bit different. It is an established core. A little bit different. And these are the things that you can learn about 10th or 11th grade. So by the time you finish the second semester of your junior year, you know exactly where you want to apply. Now, for any of you 10th and 11th grades, have you been hearing what's been going on in terms of college, university admission applications? Do we have any teachers here in the audience? Does anybody know what's been going on? There's been some computer problems. There's a form that they call a common application that you can use. And that will enable you to apply to more than one college or university. But there's been some computer glitches, which means what? Students have had a difficult time processing their application or getting it through. I just read a piece the other day, and the author of the piece said that in terms of applying for school, it's going to be over 100 hours. Dr. Harper thinks it's more time than that. So if you're a junior right now, this is the time for you to start thinking about particular schools and getting advice from your mother or father or from your guidance officer. It can be Mr. Yang or one of your, a high school graduate from your area to get a sense of where you want to go to. That summer, visit if it's within your means. Ask mom or dad if they'd be willing to go with you, and you can travel to 4 or 5 of these schools if you can go to those schools. And as soon as that common application is available, you start the application process. The sooner the better. So in September, you're going to go to your guidance officer, the college counselor, and you have a set. I like to have my transcript sent to 8 schools, and these are the 8 schools, and here are the forms. I like my letters of recommendation to go to these 8 schools, all in September, because they recommend everyone that you do things early. The earlier, the better. If you wait longer, there could be drama. For you 11th graders especially, have you thought about maybe applying early action or early decision? We'll talk more about that later. But I want to let you know there's particular ways in which you can apply. But just to let you know, if it's early decision to University of Pennsylvania, if they admit you, you have to go there. You're locked. Early action, you have room to move. If it's Brown, you want to be a physician, we have a wonderful program at Brown called the Program in Liberal Medical Education. You can be admitted to Brown's Medical School as a first-year student, which means once this. If you're admitted to the Brown's undergraduate community, you are assigned a seat for the medical school, unless something really terrible happens. Okay? That's what you need to think about. These are all options for you. I want to get back to studying hard, and Mr. Yang really wants me to emphasize this. For you juniors, junior year is a crucial year. When I worked as an admission officer, we're going to look at your first year, your 9th grade scores, your junior year scores, and the last semester of your senior year. I want to let you all know this. You can have perfect scores, 3.5 years of school, but once you get admitted to A school, if your grades plummet to C, depending upon the school, they have the right to rescind or to take away your acceptance. They want you to work hard for all 4 years. And that's what you have to think about. So don't make the mistake of thinking that once you get accepted into a school, it's all home free. It's not. They're going to look at that last semester. Juniors and seniors, options. You have a number of options that you can embrace as far as finishing up work in terms of applying to college or university that may not be so appropriate for a 9th grader. For an example, there's special activities for high schools, juniors and seniors, that's only for high school juniors and seniors, that you can use as a complement to your resume and to the college or university admission process. So we can talk more about that later. Or you can talk to your guidance officer and he or she can make you aware of some of those opportunities. But in closure, everyone, I really want to recommend this. Make sure as you have your academic schedule that it complements what the schools will require as far as you being a candidate. It's too late to get that all together when you're a junior. You have to start when you're a 9th grader. So here's the English. 3 years minimum of a language. But Brown says, in a little special handout I gave you, they'd like to see 4. 3 years of a science. If it's a technical school, physics, chemistry, what have you, and they will tell you exactly how you want to do it, how they want you to do it. AP courses. Oh, and I almost forgot, Mr. Yang, and me looking at you, I just remembered. Subject tests. For you 9th graders, are any of you 9th graders taking biology right now? Aaron, you know what you can do? You might want to talk to your guidance officer about this. There's an AP biology subject test option. What Dr. Harper recommends, and Mr. Yang also agrees with me, it would be purposeful for you to take that test at the end of your completion of that subject, rather than wait 2 years to do it, when the information is fresh. And that's one less subject test you may want to take. If you're unsure about it, that's where you talk to your guidance officer or you talk to Mr. Yang, and they can give you more advice as far as that's concerned. And my last comment, when you apply, everyone, depending upon the school, they might ask you to have an interview with an alum of that school. Brown University recommends that. Since I'm doing this type of work right now, I am no longer eligible to do alumni interviewing for Brown University. Brown University has a policy, if you're involved in college admission consulting, or if you're talking to various groups about the school, the college university school process, they think it'll be a conflict of interest, so I can't do it this year. But in past years, I did it. And Harvard is very strong on you having an interview, which means this, everyone, it can be a local alum in your area, and he or she will spend 45 minutes to an hour to talk to you about why Harvard or why Brown. And what that alum will do is fill out an evaluation sheet after the interview is over and send it to the admission office. And that's another document that they will use in terms of you being admitted. Now, I can only speak for the schools I've been associated with and the Ivy League schools. I'm gonna tell you all this. When you fill out an application to an Ivy League school, it's rigorous. It takes a lot of time. And you know what really impresses me about all the Ivy League schools, including Brown? They read it. They really do. Don't think they just throw it out the window. No, they're gonna read that application. So that particular admission officer, oh, I almost forgot about this. In your area, there's an admission officer assigned to your area. If you have time, it's too busy now, but over the summer, find out who is that admission officer, especially if you're a junior, who's responsible for your school, and see if you can have an interview or an appointment with that person, and they can help you, okay? But interviewing is key. So Dr. Harper unfairly approached Ben, because Ben wasn't expecting Dr. Harper to talk to him today in this large group. But Ben, if I can tell you this, when you're a senior, if you have to have an interview, it's going to be a stranger, and they're going to talk to you. And you're going to have to be able to communicate in an hour. Isn't that kind of scary, everyone? You only have an hour to let an alum know why you want this particular school. And so you have to get used to that. And you know how you can do it? You can role play it with your guidance officer. You can role play it with your mom or dad, or Mr. Yang. Or if you want to do it with me 2 years from now, Mr. Yang will call me. I'll role play it with you in Cambridge. All right? And we can do it. Okay? So to get you ready for that particular thing. And that way, everyone, hopefully, and I'm thinking positively, you'll get the dream school that you want. Now lastly, this will be my final comment. I have 3 packets for you. It's outside. Packet number 1 gives you an overview of what Brown, MIT, Stanford, and Williams require for a secondary school transcript. These are all the classes they'd like to see on your transcript to make it easy for you. Handout number 2, what they recommend as far as application, and they answer a lot of questions for you. And it's Brown, MIT, Stanford, and Williams. All what you need to think about. But be careful with that one, everyone. You know why? Because it can change from year to year. This is the current year. So don't make the mistake that what's going on now might be the case 2 years from now. But at least this will be an introduction so you can think about This is how they want you to handle the application process. And then lastly, and this is the delicate one, what are the statistics of the class that they just assembled? For an example, how many young people apply? How many young people were admitted? And I'll give you a breakout in terms of the test scores and their grades. And you can look at that. And then you're empowered. You know why, everyone? Because you know. And Dr. Harper's really wish is this. In the midst of all that, because what was the most painful thing for me being associated with the Brown University admission office? What was it like for me going to the Bronx School of Science? I was responsible for the first year financial aid program at Brown, and they asked me to come with the admission officer. You go to the Bronx School of Science, 90 young people are applying. All 90 have an A average. 40 have done wonderful things. Number 3 in the class has a Westinghouse award. How in the heck do you select? It's difficult. Because all 90 could add a lot to Brown's student population. And that's where it gets to be very painful. 9th graders, 10th and 11th graders, is so competitive. Don't make the mistake of thinking just because you don't get in, you're less. It's not about that. You're all wonderful, and you all have value. Don't make the mistake of thinking that if you don't get your dream school, it says something bad about you. It's not it. It's just the luck of the draw. I'll give you an example. I worked with a family in Rhode Island once where the young woman really wanted to go to Amherst College. She didn't get in, but she got into Harvard College. Didn't get into Amherst, but got into Harvard. That's how interesting the politic can be. And Mr. Yang can talk to you about that politic. He has the experience because he knows many of you much better than Dr. Harper. Okay? So often in college university admission, it can be kind of illogical. Just because you have a straight A average is no guarantee you get in. I've seen it personally at Brown. Perfect scores, but he opted to get somebody else whose scores were 200 points lower because of that particular student's profile. Or you have 2 wonderful young people or 3 wonderful young people, but they can't take all 3. They only can take 1. So it's tough, everyone. So don't make a mistake of thinking that you're less. You're not less. The issue is the schools only have so many seats. And the key thing is for you to get a quality education and do it in a way that you'll end up going somewhere.